Welcome to Law Potato, Hot Legal Topics with Idaho Values.
Welcome back to Law Potato, Hot Legal Topics with Idaho Values with Alan Harrison of AlanRHarrisonLaw. Alan focuses on helping Idaho families plan for the future with clarity and confidence. Today, he's joined by estate planning specialist Jeanna Nance, a member of the AlanRHarrisonLaw team who works closely with families throughout the estate planning process. I'm Leanne Lyon, and today we're talking about how to prepare for an estate planning meeting in Idaho. Alan and Jeanna will explain what to gather, what to think through, and how to make that first appointment productive and efficient. Hello, Jeanna.
Hello, how are you, Leanne?
Wonderful. It's great to have you here. Jeanna, can you tell us a little bit about yourself since it's your first time on the podcast and how you were drawn to this specialty?
Sure. So I've been with Harrison Law for about 4 months. Before that, I worked in the banking world in trust and wealth management. I did trust administration and investment planning for over 20 years. And I have a certification. I have a certified financial planner certification and a certified trust and fiduciary certification. And I've just been really excited to come to work with Alan and others to help people plan and be prepared for their futures.
Beautiful. When someone schedules their first estate planning meeting, what are they usually trying to get clarity on?
I'll go ahead and answer that, Leanne. So essentially, when we meet with someone, first off, they're usually wanting to figure out how are they going to distribute their assets when they're gone, and who's going to be the one to do that for them. In addition to that, we're usually talking about guardians for their minor children as well as their special needs children. And on all of these, they're just trying to get clarity with regards to what their decisions are and how those will be carried out.
What financial information should families gather ahead of time? For example, accounts, real estate, business interests? What tends to be the most helpful?
I can answer this. So when we bring on a new client, we send them out a link to a questionnaire that they fill out, and it asks questions about their family, just about their wishes, and then it does give them an opportunity to enter in some assets. We just really need a snapshot of what they have, um, different types of bank accounts, investment accounts, insurance policies, retirement accounts, real estate, if they own a home, if they own other property, and even if they have business interests, that would be important to include. And we just need to have a basic understanding of the value of those assets. There's no need to get appraisals or anything like that before they would meet with us. And this allows us to know if they're a high net worth person. And if they are, then there could be additional planning that needs to be done. Otherwise, we just need that snapshot of assets.
So, beyond financial information, what personal decisions should someone think through before the meeting, such as naming guardians or trustees or agents?
Yeah, so with regards to a trustee, you'd want to think through who would be the one that would best gather the assets that you have together, identify any expenses and pay those, and then distribute the assets. And usually we try and identify whoever your trustee is going to be the same as a personal representative, as well as your financial power of attorneys. Usually we have the same person do that, whether it's for an individual or for a couple. That way, just one person is handling all of those assets if you become incapacitated under a power of attorney, and then after you die, if they're the trustee. And then we also talk to them about their medical power of attorney. And these could be the same people as what you had as a trustee and over your finances, or it could be different. A lot of times for younger couples where the children are still minors and they don't have adult children, a lot of times we'll see different powers of attorney coming from siblings and parents. And then clearly with respect to guardians, we're dealing with minor children as well as with special needs children, and just helping people identify who would be the best one to take care of their children if they're unable to do that. And once again, this might be the same as the trustees and the medical and financial power of attorney. Often it can be different people, though. So when you're looking for a guardian, you're usually looking for someone who can best take care of your children. Whereas with regards to a trustee or financial power of attorney, you're really wanting someone who can collaborate and work together with everyone to make sure that your assets are distributed how you want.
And is it best for them to check with those people in advance before they put them into their trust?
So as far as checking with them, most people do. Most people try and reach out and just make sure that they're comfortable doing that. Others, I've had just name them. However, when you do that without talking with them, if they really don't want to do it, then you feel like you got to come back and change things. And I've had that happen. I've also had happen where they've left the design meeting, they haven't talked with them, and they've gone home and said, "Hey, this is what I want to do," and the individual said, "No, I just don't want to do that." And so we've been able to alter it and make sure that they got what their wishes are.
Are there any common misunderstandings about what needs to be decided before walking into that first meeting?
I think a common misunderstanding is that people think they have to have everything figured out. They have to know who they're going to name for their trustee or their personal representative, guardians, and all those things. They have to know who they're going to be giving all their assets to and have every decision laid out and planned. But that's not the case. In fact, when you give us a call, we we will answer questions and help you determine these things and walk you through them, and then help you get a plan in place. And getting a plan in place, even if it's not perfect, is better than not having any plan at all, because you'll go along in your life and all of a sudden there'll be a crisis, and then to have to deal with it at that point can get really expensive, and maybe things won't turn out the way that you would want them to.
I know we've been talking so far about a first meeting. How many meetings can people expect while setting up their estate planning?
And we have the initial design meeting. And prior to that design meeting in our office, we've sent them a link and they have filled that out. And then Gina, as our estate planning specialist, typically gives them a call before that meeting and kind of goes over what some of the questions are that I'll be asking in the meeting itself. And if they know those answers, we can capture those and get those down. If they don't, then Gina is able to talk with them about what decisions I will be asking in the design meeting. So they have a little bit of time to think about that. And we found that with this process, that usually after that design meeting, a lot of clients are ready to go forward because they've had time to think about those decisions. If they don't know all of the decisions, then we set up a review meeting. And sometimes that's just a brief phone call to answer a few questions. Other times it's a quick Zoom call. If needed, we set up another meeting where we sit down and finalize it. And then after that second meeting, we would set up a signing meeting and we draft the documents in between that review and that signing meeting, and then they'd come back in for a signing meeting. So for sure, one meeting, sometimes a second review meeting, and then a sign meeting is typically what we see.
Excellent. For families with minor children or more complex family dynamics, what additional preparation makes the process smoother?
Yeah. So with regards to minor children, the big decision there is who is going to be the guardians, who's in the best position to take care of them. And along with that decision is who are those guardians, and are the children going to go live with the guardians, or are the guardians going to come to the home of the individual setting up their estate plan? If they're going to come to the home, then you've got to consider, are they going to live there rent free? Who's going to be paying the utilities and taxes and insurance, the major and minor repairs? And typically, there's money set aside in the trust to take care of those expenses at the home so that the guardians don't have to pay those. Obviously, if the children are going to the guardian's home, then the home gets sold and the money gets put into an account, and you don't have to worry about that. But that's a consideration we're always taking into account with minor children. Also, when you have minor children, a lot of times, if there's 2 or 3 or 4 of them and they're not yet quite 18, often we will establish what's called a common trust, where all the money will be held until the youngest is 18 and has been raised. That money can be used for their health, education, maintenance, and support. And then once they're 18, then it's divided up into different accounts for the different children. And that kind of leads into the next consideration is when do you want your children to get the money? Do you want them to get it all when they're 18? Do you want them to get a portion when they're 18, 21, 25, or even 30? I've had some clients even go older than that, depending on the amount of assets and how early they want them to receive that. Um, as far as complex decisions, we see that usually happening like with businesses. If all the family is in the business, that's one thing that's not very typical. Usually you have like one or two kids in the business. And so then the consideration uh, is the business going to go to those kids? Is the business going to be valued? And do the other heirs be paid out? And are there sufficient assets to pay them out? Or do you need to get life insurance or key man insurance to pay out the other heirs? Another difficult thing to distribute is land. If you have a farm and one or two children's farming on that, then to sell the farm could affect their livelihood. And so once again, we have the discussion of, do we give them the farm, or do we have a buyout where they buy out the other siblings, or do they get insurance to be able to buy out the other siblings, or is there enough assets to take care of them? And so as you think through exactly how you really want to distribute that, it helps before the meeting. But as Jeanna said previously, uh, coming in and talking with us, we've seen lots of different situations. And so being able to get some background and to talk through it is better to think about it for years and years and years and just spin it in your head. It's just better to come talk with a professional, make a decision, and then move forward.
Alan, can you share an example of a family who came in well prepared and how that preparation changed the tone or outcome of their planning process?
Yeah, we recently had a family that they had quite a sizable estate. They didn't have any children, and they had thought about different charities that they wanted to have to give it to. And when I met with them, they had thought about this for years, and they're getting up in age, and finally they just say, "We got to get this done." And so we sent them the link. They filled that out. Gina was able to call them and talk to them and kind of let them know what decisions we would be making. And then when we met, when they first came in, decisions with regards to who's in the best position to handle the money and to distribute it, they didn't quite know. And so we just talked about it. And when the first meeting first started, I thought that this was going to take several meetings. And the way they were answering the questions, it felt like it was going to take 3 or 4 months to help them come to decisions. But as we just worked through each question and said, who is in the best position right now to gather your assets together? Because Gina had kind of prepped them to think about that, we were able to, in that meeting, to go through and just talk about what was reality right now and help them make a decision as to who would be in the best position to help them make financial decisions. And then we moved to medical decisions if they became incapacitated. And then with distribution, they had thought about nieces and nephews to give it to. And so we went through that. We determined an amount to give it to them. And then with charities, I sent them home with an assignment to come up with one or two charities just to make a decision. And they went home and they went on a vacation. And at that, they came up with, I don't know, a lot more than one or two. but the reality is they were able to make the decisions, and we were able to do their estate plan and get something done. And there was a huge sense of relief that they expressed in just being able to get it done, and the help that we had provided them to identify their assets, be thinking about who they wanted to have help, and then just talk it through with someone. And that just feels great when you're able to help someone just move from what could have taken 3-4 months, and they'd already been thinking about it for years, to a finalized plan within, it was under a month. The only extra time was just they were gone on vacation for part of that.
So, as we wrap up today's episode, Gina, can you share maybe an example of something that's been put into a trust for a family with special needs children that has really given them peace of mind?
Yeah. in my past life, working for the bank and being a trust administrator, we administered quite a few special needs trusts, it was and it was always a joy to help those clients, those beneficiaries that were special needs, and we were able to distribute for different things, including vacations, or to help one gentleman. We helped him buy a new bike so he could be in the Special Olympics, and that was just really a neat experience that we were able to see that happen because the family had planned and prepared for that.
Well, thank you for today. And to our audience, if you are considering creating or updating an estate plan, preparation can make the entire process clearer and more efficient. To learn more about how Alan and his team help Idaho families plan with confidence, visit AHarrisonLaw.com. And as always, subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who may find it helpful. Thank you, Jeanna and Alan.
Thank
you,
you.
Jeanna.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.